I found some older videos of an Indigenous voice, also a human rights reporter. I just wanted to fact check what he was talking about. Maybe you want to see it too.
Maybe you will ask, who is Mr. Milikovsky?
I did ask, and you told me, but I didn't know before.
He is Benjamin Netanyahu. This is the real name.
Prime Minister or President of Israel.
The colonial settler state of Israel. He lately made a really controversial statement talking about Palestinian made Hitler do the Holocaust. And
he said what?
Yeah, he said that the Palestinians were behind the Holocaust. They
Other attacks on the Jewish community in 1920, 1921, 1929 were instigated by a call of the Mufti of Jerusalem, Haj Amin al-Husseini, who was later sought for war crimes in the Nuremberg trials because he had a central role in fomenting the final solution. He flew to Berlin. Hitler didn't want to exterminate the Jews at the time. He wanted to expel the Jews. And Haj Amin al-Husseini went to Hitler and said, if you expel them, they'll all come here. So what should I do with them? He asked. He said,
pushed Hitler to do the Holocaust. Now, before going to talk in details about that, I would like to talk about an incident happened in the United Nations to show who is Mr. Milikovsky, the real one. He claimed once on a podium of United Nations that his first name, Benjamin, go 4,000 years BCE, when the Benjamin and David were running on the hills of Judea.
You know, to speak to what he's talking about, the age of the name and David, it's going back to question kind of the sovereignty that they are actually building in this infusion of information that is familiarized and people understand the Bible, and it seems they're digging things out of the ground and then taking control of the narrative and saying this is why we're doing things. They're finding jewels and gems. They're discussing the history that they believe what these civilizations were then. This all speaks to the civilization societies all along across the world. The last 2 years specifically, I've studied 70 years of the American colonization societies. So seeing that whole paid for by the Palestine Exploration Fund is not unusual from my perspective. I will say that they're being called out here for their translations and, we should have waited to put this report out. They were being very pressured to put this report out because people had money on the line. They were out there getting treasure out of the ground. But then you start seeing South Palestine tribes, and then we start thinking conquest because you can't discover lands that are already inhabited. However, throughout history, they have created a lot of false narratives for sovereignty and authority to do the things that they do. 20 years or more in deep healing, and the last 5 years in the Doctrine of Discovery went all the way back to Rome. I actually found a relative that was on the SS Patria, which connected me to some of this history 2 years ago, so I was already deep into this study. And on the same page of this drop in the bucket from 1890, we see that Tehran is pointed out, is having some kind of treasure there. And that's what it starts to feel like. Some creepy, conquesty, imperialistic treasure hunting going all over the globe and then creating false narratives. But back to Mazen, a voice of authority.
And his second name, Netanyahu, go back 2,000 years because some archaeologists found a ring was written on it, Netanyahu. He did not mention that his father, Ben Zion Milikovsky, changed this name, Milikovsky, to Netanyahu in 1920s. When they moved from Lithuania to colonize Palestine. So Mr. Netanyahu, or I should call him Mr. Milikovsky, dare to say in front of all United Nations that his second name, his last name, Netanyahu, go back 2,000 years.
Showing the long claim on
in order to use this claim to expel my family and the Palestinians who live in Palestine for centuries. So this is the kind of person who is Netanyahu or Mr. Milikovsky.
What I'm about to say is going to shock you.